It is another edition of Inside Coverage here on a Tuesday heading in to week two. My name is Andrew Siciliano. Jori Epstein and Frank Schwab join me shortly. Thanks for joining us. No matter how it is you're taking in this show, the how and the why of everything in the National Football League, whether you're watching on Yahoo Sports.tv, the brand new Fast channel on all your smart televisions, or on the YouTube page, we thank you. Coming up, Jalen Carter gets suspended. Kinda, sorta. The 49ers make a kicker change, and all the injury news from around the NFL. But we begin, as we look ahead to week two, by looking back to week number one. And normally on Tuesday, that is the day you turn the page. But we want to thank our guest, Bills left tackle Dion Dawkins, who joins us live. We want to thank Dion in advance for, even though today's that gray area, Dion, for granting us, A, your time, but B, a little bit of time to look back as well. How are you, man? Yeah, it is. Yeah, 1-0. And the feeling is mutual. And again, we thank you for being here. Of all the games, I got a lot of texts during that game, and I'm flying back. I was at Browns Bengals. I'm flying back home, watching at 35,000 feet. Everyone's sleeping. I'm sitting there watching the game, trying not to make noise. Of all the games, I kept getting texts. All right, this is the game of the year. Week one, you can't top it. Deanna, of all the games you've been in, where does that rank? Okay. And number one is? Okay.
Championship game a couple years back. That was by far the most iconic game in my career. High intensity. This game right here is number two. I'm not still. I don't want to say that. It was just crazy. It was just insane. Watching Derrick Henry run like how he ran, and watching Lamar and Josh be in a throwing battle, and watching us protect and just be us. It was just insane. And then for us to be down like how we were, and then for it to turn around, like that just shows, that we literally have that, just don't blink mentality. Don't blink.
At what did you know that you can do this? You're down 4 minutes to go. You're down 15.
Oh no, man. I'm gonna tell you, I could lie. I could literally lie and be like, I knew it was gonna be. I knew we was gonna win. Nah, no, we were gonna win that game. No, bro. I am the realest. I will tell you the truth. There was a moment on the sideline, of course, where you're like, oh, this one is getting a little away from us. Uh Watching Derrick Henry run down that sideline like he did, I was like, bro, look, we just got to do what we do well. Call the play, block the play, execute our play, do what we're told. Try to just stay in it, but your mind mentally takes you places as a as a as a fighter, right? Like as a competitor, it takes you in different places. So yes, I was on the sideline and I was like, mm. But then Josh came over and he was like, we're still in it. We're still in it. We're still in it. And that was the reminder that we all needed, that we're still in it. Even though that they had a lot of big plays that might have seemed worse, but realistically, a big play, touchdowns are still only 6 points, and a field goal is only one. And they missed one and they made one and they missed, so we're still in it. So I was thankful. Josh came over and said, we're still in the game. Once Scally said that we're still in the game, we looked at Scally and we were like, you know, we're still in it. If Josh says that we're still in it, then I believe in this kid. We're still in it.
I don't think Josh has ever come over and said, okay, the game's over. We're not going to be in this game.
Never.
He's going to
Yeah.
say, all right, we're still in it. But then Ed Oliver, who might have played the game of his life, Ed Oliver
Yeah.
takes the ball away from Derrick Henry. And that's from where I was sitting. I'm like, all right, I don't know that I don't know that they're going to win it, but this game is in no way over. But the
Yeah.
fact that you guys won it in overtime, Dion, it's not that you
Mhm.
came back from down 15 with 4 minutes to go. It's that you didn't need overtime to win it.
It is kind of crazy. There's four quarters for a reason. Sometimes four quarters is all you need, and that's all the time that is needed to win. I'm thankful we didn't go to overtime. Nobody wants to go to overtime. We had 87 plays in this game as an offense. 87 plays. it was one of the hardest games we have physically played on our body. 87 plays. The last time that we had that like many plays, it was against Miami. Maybe 2 years ago, we had 93 plays. It was like 115 degrees outside, some crazy stuff. But yes, Ed did his thing, took the ball away. The guys played well, and we played through in fatigue. And they were tired as well as we were. I'm thankful. Buffalo Bills for the W.
Talking to Dion Dawkins here, Pro Bowl left tackle of the Bills. Do you have any doubt that you're going to see them again in January, the Ravens?
Yeah, 100%. That's what this league is. We have good teams in conference. The AFC is a beautiful division, and when you have quarterbacks like Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, I call those the three-headed beast. Right? We're gonna see these teams. We know we have to play well. We know we have to protect and affect the quarterback. So yes, these are the teams that we have to see every year, multiple times. And I don't want to count out any other team that might be getting overlooked because we got to play the Jets twice every year, the Dolphins twice every year, and the Patriots twice every year. We have enemies on every team now. So it's just like with success brings more enemies, and we have a bigger target on our back the more success we have. Every year, we're about a game and a half away to getting to the big show. And I think every year it gets harder. And with knowing how good we are, everybody has a target on our back because we're the guys that everybody wants to beat on.
Dion, unpack that for me, what you just said there about not only facing teams in January, but every team or every week, there's a target on your back. Josh said last year, I believe before the Chiefs game, it doesn't matter if we beat them now, although we want to beat them now. It matters if we beat this team in January. To that end, when you have 79 snaps and you have this much emotion put into a game week one, is there any part of you that's like, all right, this is nice, but I don't want to celebrate too much. Like, I got a smile on my face. This was great for everybody. But at the same time, I know that I'm going to look back on it and it may ring hollow if we don't take this team down again when we inevitably will face them.
I think, one, it's a beautiful question. How you worded it was amazing. And two, I think, yes, not that it doesn't matter in the beginning of the season. You want to win them all, right? Teams typically get better throughout the course of a season, right? You go through injuries throughout the course of a season. Guys have to play with little nicks and little aches throughout the duration of a football season. So yes, it's beautiful to get the win now. It's beautiful to have and having some type of success and understanding that yes, winning is great all of the time. But realistically, 1-0 does not get us the trophy. 1-0 does not get us into the playoffs. 1-0 does nothing for next week. We have to do it every single week, win it week in and week out. And we understand that. But this league is getting better. The talent in this league is getting better. And every week is hard. It is extremely hard. Our schedule and the teams that we play, even if their records suck, I'm telling you this right now, even if their records suck, like you might get to the end of the football season or even the middle, and teams might only have 3 wins, maybe even 4, maybe even 2, right? And they play us like they're undefeated. So we feel that on the football field. That's what our bodies are feeling and our minds are feeling on a consistent day and a consistent week in and week out battle. So we understand that teams are going to do that, and that's just the way it is now. And we're thankful to be in a position of winning and having a winning culture. That's just what it is when you have good coaching, good management, and a good owner. Like these guys get the right people here, and winning is kind of a part of what we do, but it's still very, very hard week in and week out. This league is one of the hardest on the planet, honestly.
All right, we'll move on to the Jets. Last thing on this game, I promise. One more thing.
Jets.
Can we play some of the locker room reaction after Matt Prater hit that kick?
Go ahead.
Because some 100%. Of the memes were
our
ridiculous
old friend
as well. All right, let's play the locker room reaction here.
Our old buddy.
Take a shot at his age, but he walks into the special teams meeting, and I'm like, oh, we got a new coach, and then I'm like, That's Matt Prater. Holy cow, this guy's been balling in the league. First time I seen him, I was like, that a coach?
It's a
He comes out
coach.
here, man, and he's a great dude. Comes out here, kicks a game-winning field goal. He's special.
This
I'm just
guy.
happy to have him here with us. The oldest guy in the world, ain't he?
Look at D-Dog.
Keep your old ass with the Bills. Oh, man. I'm thankful for him. I'm glad that somebody could come in on Thursday and help us big, because every piece matters, and he came in, he understood the assignment, we got the job done.
Dion,
Man,
when Matt Prater made his NFL debut in 2007, you were 13. Were you in middle school when you were 13?
I was, because I graduated high school in 2012. So, yes, I was in middle school.
There you go. Okay.
Bro.
That's when Matt Prater started kicking in the NFL.
This guy right here, bro, he looks like, bro, look at this guy, man. Look at our guy, dog. What are we doing? Yo, I'm telling you, bro, he's one of the coolest, most humblest guys. It's just amazing what this league can do, right? It's just amazing what this league can freaking do. This guy has the skinniest legs on the planet and comes in and makes the game-winning kick. And he's old as smoke. I love him to death. I'm glad that he still got it. He just put something else in his history book of being a legend. I'm thankful for him. I'm glad that he's here. And like I said before, let's keep his old ass in Buffalo because he has done a good job. And depth is what we need. And I'm glad that he's here with us because look at the form. Look at the form. Yeah, look.
How old is he? And he ran on the field with a running clock as well. There's no timeout. It's a fire drill. He's running out there. And he makes the kick. And now he's on the active roster because all these teams are churning their kickers because everyone had bet. Well, a lot of teams, the Niners, the Falcons, the Browns, all had kicker issues on Sunday. Well, Matt Prater is running out there and making their kick. All right, Dion, I promise. We'll ask about the Jets now. You get the Jets. You get a division game. The Jets did not look like the old Jets week one.
Yeah, no.
I mean, Justin Fields led 6 scoring drives. That's a different team.
It's a drastically different team. And we know. And we understand. And I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it. I'm glad that everything is turning. I'm glad that they're in a plus. That's cool with me. They look good. No beef. I like Fields. Great guy, great quarterback, good dude. I was actually on FaceTime with him this offseason when I was at Taylor Townsend's tennis match. And I think her strength coach or one of her guys called him and was like, yo, look, this is Dion, da-da-da. So I got to meet him over FaceTime. He's a good dude. And can't wait to see these guys in a couple of days. But it's always a battle. It's always a battle. And enemies on the field, sometimes enemies off. But we're going to put on a great show.
And it's a division game, and that is all that matters. Dion Dawkins, it's business this week, and you took time to join us on Inside Coverage. We appreciate you, man. Be safe when you're drifting. I know you're in the garage right now. You're at the shop.
Yeah. Don't talk about my drifting, man. Like I can't wait. I'm a big kid, bro, and I cannot wait. My car is right on the other side of this black wall, and I have everybody like out there waiting, and they're like, and I'm like, look, I'm going in here to handle some business. Leave the cars off. So as soon as I run out of that door, racer, start your engines, and it's gonna be a blast. So I'll post it on my Instagram.
Are you racing other people, or is this just you like at Hard Knocks doing your thing?
I mean, like it's a tandem, so I'll have like somebody driving next to me, but it's not like a real race. But it's like I'm practicing racing right now. But it's just like just fun. Like it's the same thing. It's just there will be another car next to me. I get to see him while I'm spinning tires.
Okay.
Oh man,
be safe,
it's fun.
Please, will you? Be safe.
Always. I wear a helmet, harnessed, and we have a good time. Stay tuned.
All right. We'll see you in New York or New Jersey because you guys are the only team in New York. Don't forget that. Coming up on
Cheers,
Sunday.
brother.
Cheers. Dion Dawkins, we appreciate you, man.
Cheers.
Live here on Inside Coverage. Oh, here, I'll drink my iced coffee too.
Come on, drink it.
Beautiful.
Iced coffee?
Thank you, Dion. Coming up, what we
That's
learned
crazy.
from Monday Night Football last night, the J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams battle. Plus, I mentioned the kicker carousel is spinning, and Jalen Carter has been suspended. Kind of, sort of. Jori and Frank join me next. Don't go anywhere, everybody. Inside Coverage. We are live on Yahoo Inside Coverage. My name is Andrew Siciliano. I want to thank Dion Dawkins, the left tackle of the Bills, for joining us. And I want to thank my good friends Frank Schwab and Jori Epstein back with us as well. First of all, Frank, hold on. Jori, we're happy for you. Congratulations. Welcome back. How was the wedding? How do you feel? Tell us all about it.
Thank you both. It was wonderful. We had a great time. Lots of love, lots of happiness, lots of family, all the things. Got it in just before week one, that Labor Day weekend wedding, and then have already covered 2 games in person since, which we'll get to. So my question or my joke kept being, would I make it to week 2 with like a 7-day stretch of wedding, Thursday night game, Sunday game, and just keep going? I'm here. So it seems like I've made it. Week 3 is still up in the air. What would Kyle Shanahan say? Like, none of us are guaranteed, but we are here. And if anyone is wondering, my dad did take the Micah Parsons trade the Thursday before the wedding as opportunity to slide a joke into the speech. John Machota, who covers Cowboys for The Athletic, was like, wow, impressive. He got that in his speech, given how little time he had. So yeah, my parents would like first round picks from us someday. They're not getting them yet, but don't worry. We got all the jokes there.
It was amazing. I love looking at the pictures on Facebook. You guys are a beautiful couple. I'm happy for you. And of course, Frank, on your honeymoon, did you also cover a Thursday night game?
I did not know my first honeymoon. We were in the Virgin Islands for that one during the summer. So we'll see how the second honeymoon goes, though. We are doing. I don't know how you do it, Jori. We're doing a summer wedding because nope, I'm not dealing with that in the middle of an NFL season. But obviously, awesome for you, my good friend. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. But we were exciting, and it was funny that when I was at the link last week for the Cowboys-Eagles game, I'm like finishing up interviewing Dak at his locker, and all of a sudden one of the assistant coaches walks by and was like, shouldn't you be on your honeymoon? And Dak's like, yeah, why are you here? So there was a little bit of joking about that in the post-game locker room.
And you had a lightning delay to boot as well. We'll get to that game coming up in a second. I want to go back to the Monday night game. It was an amazing week 1, rather. That was game 16 of week 1. It was the Bears blowing a lead and the Vikings rallying with a memorable fourth quarter to beat the Bears 21-17. And Kevin O'Connell handed out at least a dozen game balls after the game at Soldier Field, including one for his quarterback.
Happens. This feeling that we have right now does not happen without one other guy. All right? Did not go the way any of us wanted. This guy, all right, I could tell from the jump, he was poised. He was poised. But this guy didn't quit me, and you always thought he would figure it out. 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown all in the second half. That's why you guys put a C on his chest. That's why he's going to break his neck right now.
Hey, this is the beginning, but I think we proved something to ourselves tonight. We know what we got in the tank, and let's let it out every week. On to the next one, boys. Family on me, family on 3, 1, 2, 3. Family!
J.J. McCarthy did something that we had not seen, Frank, in 40 years last night, in 40 years. And that is, in your NFL debut as a starting quarterback, rally from down 10 and win a game in the fourth quarter. Last guy to do that was Steve Young in 1985. Steve Young, the Hall of Famer, the guy with the gold jacket. J.J. McCarthy, who, let's face it, some people don't like because he went to Michigan, right? In his first meaningful action since the national championship game, he did the thing. And it was a heck of a lot different than the J.J. McCarthy we saw in the first quarter. Kevin O'Connell gets credit. Yes, of course he does. But it seems like the Vikings found a guy.
What can you say about J.J. McCarthy? Just keeping, like Kevin O'Connell used the term poise. Like, first game, young quarterback, everything's going against him. He struggled badly. Like, for the first, I'll get to that in a second. First 3 quarters, he was awful. He really was. For him to stay in the game like that, have 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, I thought was beyond impressive. And a couple of things you saw in the broadcast. After he throws a really, really bad pick six, the Bears got him. They knew the ball's coming out quick on a blitz. They jumped the route, all that. JJ's just on the sideline, basically dapping guys up, say, let's go. Like, I've forgotten about it. You forget about it too. I was impressed with that moment and not knowing what was going to come next. And then also, when JJ got his third touchdown to give them the lead, Kevin O'Connell is running down the sideline. ESPN's camera's right in front of him. And Kevin O'Connell just gives out the most crazy scream you can give out. And I think this was validation for the Vikings. This is our guy. We trusted him. We didn't see it the first 3 quarters, but boy, do we see it in the fourth. Now, I want to say, look, JJ's got to play better. Like, you can't just do this every week. He's the guy from the first 3 quarters. That still existed. And that still has to be corrected. But the way he came back in the fourth quarter, just putting everything aside, just putting everything behind him. I don't know that I've really seen a guy making his NFL debut ever do it like that, where you have everything against you for 3 quarters. You just say, that's fine. I'll get you in the fourth quarter. And he sure did.
Absolutely. And I think what's interesting is that at halftime, so little of what ended up impacting the game had actually happened. So it wasn't only what he was doing well, it's that you get to halftime, the Bears are up 10-6, and then after that, JJ McCarthy throws a pick 6 in his debut, and you're like, okay, well, that's not what you want to see. And then you go from the third quarter pick 6 to, like you said, 10 minutes of game time in the fourth quarter, 3 touchdowns. And I was impressed with JJ McCarthy's ability to rally and to be resilient, especially because he hadn't played a real game that was counting for something. I'm not counting preseason here, in 609 days. And since he was in the national championship game for Michigan 2 seasons ago, because last year he was out after the training camp knee injury. And so he hadn't played in a while. It's not like, oh, everything should be slick. Like, he was a little rusty. He wasn't figuring out those third downs. And all of a sudden you come back like this. And I would say we should give credit to JJ McCarthy and also credit to head coach Kevin O'Connell, not only for making the schematic adjustments when he realized that defensive coordinator Dennis Allen was doing different things than Dennis Allen would usually do. They think that he was kind of trying to take advantage of that rookie quarterback making his debut, but also Kevin O'Connell was pretty honest talking on a team show after the game or the next day. And he was saying, look, if this was a veteran guy, I probably would have lost that positivity. I would not have stayed as, I think they keep saying their slogan is faith over fear. And he's like, if this was a vet, I would have gotten after him for some of the mistakes he was making. But this was a guy in his first start, and that's not what he needed. And Kevin said that. And then the second thing he said was that he's like, sometimes in the NFL, or often in the NFL, it's kind of like, well, prove it. Prove to us that we should respect you. Prove to us that we as a team should believe in you as a quarterback. And Kevin O'Connell said he hopes that he never coaches a team that requires that. Not because people shouldn't have to prove things or because people shouldn't have performance, but because it doesn't ultimately benefit the team if they're waiting for JJ McCarthy to prove something. And so I think you have to acknowledge the role of the Vikings culture in saying, even when things go wrong, that is not enough to shake their belief in this guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, certainly, because if you look at the first 3 plays of the game, first 2 plays of the game, McCarthy changes the play at the line, reads the defense, changes the play. They didn't necessarily go anywhere. And then the third snap of the game, Dennis Allen showing blitz, McCarthy takes the snap, the linebackers drop, totally change the look, and then they punt and they go 3 and out. But the guy, as we see Dante from NFL Research, friend of the program, with the stat that we gave you earlier to start this segment, laying out the facts immediately after the game, the guy stayed poised. And I think the game last night was kind of a microcosm of not only week 1 overreactions, but what really could be the entire season. Because what we saw in the first quarter, and really even the first half, the reactions were J.J. McCarthy's awful, and Caleb Williams has magically been fixed by Ben Johnson, and this is the guy, and I'm guilty as well of tweeting, hey, I know you. You're the guy that went to USC. You're the guy that won the Heisman. Caleb Williams is back. Ben Johnson is magic, and he fixed the Bears quarterback. And then by the end of the night, it totally flipped, right? J.J. McCarthy is the guy. Kevin O'Connell is right. His faith is rewarded, and oh my God, what are they going to do now? What are they going to do with Caleb? Ben Johnson can't fix him. How do they get out of this? All the Bears' good feeling we had at the beginning of the night and all through the offseason is all gone. It's all wasted. It's all overreaction week 1, which is always what it is. The truth is always somewhere in the middle. But the way the pendulum swung last night during that game, it made your head spin, to be honest with you. So let's get to the Bears. Caleb Williams opened 10 for 10. Caleb Williams looked like the guy that we saw in the Sunday night primetime preseason appearance where he marched him down the field on the 93-yard drive. And you're like, all right, he's got it. But by the end of the night, Frank, it all went off the rails. He was wildly inaccurate. He missed a wide open DJ Moore for what could have been a touchdown before the 2-minute warning. You wouldn't have had the clock management issue on the kickoff at the end of the game. All of it went sideways. And then the story on Monday night and Tuesday morning is now, okay, what are we doing with Caleb Williams? Which is just bonkers. Just be patient. Not everything can be fixed in one day.
I do agree with you. I mean, and let's say something about Caleb Williams. He's facing a Brian Flores defense. That's tough on any quarterback.
Yes.
I don't care if you've played 10 years or 1 year like Caleb Williams. But I do have to say, look, we've been making excuses for Caleb Williams now. Like, it's always been, oh, the interior of the offensive line's not good. Oh, the coaches aren't good. Oh, nobody was watching film with him or this or that or that. The Bears did everything for him this season. And I'm not giving up after one game. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it has to look better than it did on Monday night. You're going to get to the end of this season. And I'm not saying like the Bears are going to cut him at the end of the season if he's not good. But if you get to the end of the season and Caleb Williams really hasn't shown any improvement from what he showed last night, from what he showed in his rookie year, you're going to get to the end of the season and say, man, did we pick the wrong guy? Because I know Jaden Daniels is great. Drake May's shown a lot more than Caleb Williams to this point. Bo Nix had a great rookie season. Michael Penix was awesome on Sunday, and he has less experience than Caleb Williams. JJ McCarthy outplayed him last night when it counted. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, well, you gotta, yes, all these things were against Caleb Williams last year, but there has to be some proof of concept that Caleb Williams is that dude. You got Ben Johnson. You got an improved interior offensive line. Your first two picks in the draft were receiver, a tight end and a receiver. You have everything in front of you to be a successful quarterback. You have to do it. And I'm not saying I'm giving up after one game. Tough assignment against a really, really, really good Vikings defense. It was underrated all offseason. But at some point, there has to be proof of concept that Caleb Williams is that dude.
Yeah, the good news for Caleb Williams is he's not going to face Brian Flores' defense more than one more time in the regular season. But I think that even if he's not getting full on Brian Flores' defense, he's still going to have opponents who look at the film and say, oh, well, when you were blitzed 30% in the first half, you were 10 for 10. You were extending the pocket. You were able to get out of things and still make these throws on the run. And then all of a sudden you tick up that blitz rate. I believe it was about 43.5% in the second half. And actually now your clock is off and you're not accurate and everything's starting to break down and you're in third and longs. And oh, by the way, we're back to the Bears penalties and more penalties. And so I think that to me, the issue is not what he did against the Brian Flores defense. The issue is, can he and the Bears as a whole with these pre-snap penalties figure out how to get those out of their system? Because if not, every single team is going to try and use that formula to get them again.
Yeah, he was pressured. The final math is 15 times, so a pressure rate of just around 35%. Again, in the first half, especially that opening drive when he's going to the sideline to his right and just threw a laser that Rome Odunze, I don't know what was better, the throw or the catch that Rome Odunze got on the sideline. That's the guy that won the Heisman. That's the guy that became the number one overall pick with that kind of magic. And you saw it in the first half. I mean, there were Bears fans. They weren't just celebrating. Don't get me wrong. They're not buying tickets to Santa Clara in February at the end of the first half. But when you get the pick six, like this was a celebration. This game, in the eyes of everyone at Soldier Field, was over. And the Bears were back. Yeah, the 85 Bears there for the 1,000th time being honored. Right? Those guys have not bought a meal in 40 years in Chicago, as well they shouldn't. And this was a parade on Michigan Avenue. And then they woke up and they looked in the mirror this morning and went, how in the world did that happen? It's only one game. They're not the only team to be disappointed week number one, but they got to turn it around and they get the Lions, who themselves are disappointed after their week one effort. And obviously some familiarity there between those two coaching staffs. All right, Jori, I mentioned, and you mentioned, obviously, that your honeymoon took you to Thursday Night Football on a lightning delay and horrible traffic on 95 to get you to Philadelphia, where the Eagles did beat the Cowboys in a game closer than many people expected in week number one. One of the reasons you could argue it was closer than expected was the fact that Jalen Carter was kicked out of the game before we even had the first play from scrimmage for spitting on Dak Prescott. Jalen missed the entire game, and today the league kind of threaded the needle. They suspended Jalen Carter, but they said that because he basically missed the entire game, that will serve as his suspension. He is eligible to play this week in Kansas City in the big Super Bowl 59 rematch, and his fine is his game check from week 1. So he's going to forfeit that $57,000. What do you think of the way the league kind of has it both ways here?
Yeah, it was pretty amusing because at first you see these reports coming out of like, oh, and he's going to be fined 57,222. And by the way, if you were wondering, that's the amount of his game check. And then the official release comes out and it's like a 1-game suspension, but here's how we're defining it. I actually think it was a fair consequence. I think it was a fair penalty. I think that the 1-game suspension, I mean, the league is saying, hey, we want to increase the penalties for unsportsmanlike conduct. The league has a lot of goals, both in terms of international expansion and otherwise, in terms of making this for a broader audience, more family friendly, respectable. And then all of a sudden you get the first game, you got the defending Super Bowl champions on prime time, national television. No one else is playing until the next day even. And Jalen Carter spits on not only a quarterback, but a Walter Payton Man of the Year. I mean, that's the type of guys that the NFL is going to protect in these situations. And I'm not saying you can spit on someone else, but you think that they're not going to realize that. And the official was right there. And I mean, I talked to Dak Prescott in the locker room after the game and asked him about it. And I've known Dak for 10 years now since he got into the league. He does spit a lot. And he's like, look, I'm not proud of this, but this is a habit I have, especially in the games. This happens. And so for Dak, he was actually behind his offensive lineman. The only reason Jalen Carter was even semi-close and not that close is because he was trying to goad the Cowboys rookie Tyler Booker and kind of give him a hard time and get in his mind before the game. Dak needs to spit, doesn't want to spit on his offensive lineman, so he spits just behind them. And Jalen Carter standing back paying attention because he's trying to give the rookie a hard time goes, are you trying to spit on me? And Dak, that was when Dak actually was like, what? He's like, why the F would I want to spit on you? Like, I'm not that type of guy. And then Jalen Carter comes to him and spits on him, and it's on his jersey. So, I mean, it is very different. I know there was all this debate on the internet of who spit where and when and all of that. And it was definitely not what we were expecting for week 1, although I've now gone to Pittsburgh during training camp and reported on DK Metcalf's peeing, and we got spit in Philadelphia. So I don't know what is going on in Pennsylvania. It has been a weird season and we're just in week 1. But all of this is to say, I think it was a reasonable penalty. And I think the league threaded the needle is they don't want him missing the rematch of the Super Bowl champions, because then if the Chiefs win, no one's going to be excited about it. But he did already play here. He missed an entire game. So I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, there was a confirmed second spitter. It was Dak. But yes, everything.
That's one magic loogie.
Everything played out pretty much as it should. It was time served for Jalen Carter, who did miss a game. And look, the Eagles almost lost that game because he wasn't in the lineup. Like, I mean, he is a difference maker, and the Cowboys were in that game. Look, I don't know. Javonte Williams is running up the middle for touchdowns if Jalen Carter's in the middle there, right? Like, so he almost cost his team a game. It was a stupid move by Jalen Carter. Not that I would tell that to his face, because he might pick me up and throw me a mile and a half down the road, or spit on me, maybe. I'd take that over Jalen Carter beating the heck out of me. But it was dumb. It was rash. He got kicked out of a game. He got embarrassed on national TV. I think that's pretty much the punishment. And I do want to say, for all the people who love to say, oh, the NFL is rigged for the Chiefs, the NFL, the NFL could have suspended Jalen Carter for this big game against the Chiefs, right? But they didn't. Like, I just want to put that to bed because I hate it. It's going to come up this year. Oh, and I hate it when people I hate it. Andrew, I hate it so much.
Well, look, I caused a little bit of a stir because what was it? Okay, so when Tyre Tart, right, Friday night, had the two-hand hit, or the one-hand hit, it's just the big hit to Travis Kelce's head.
What was that? How did he not get ejected for that?
I thought he should have been thrown out. I didn't buy the explanation. And I remember Puka Nacua got thrown out last year, Rams, Seahawks, and he did have a closed fist, and he delivered it to the side of a guy's helmet, but it was not a forcible blow. I mean, it was just kind of like this. Look, he did it, and he got ejected. In terms of like measuring force of the blow to the head, what Tart did was 10 times worse than what Puka did, and they threw him out. It was a closed fist. It didn't look the same. One looked far more violent. I thought Tart should have been thrown out. And then, of course, the comments 400,000 views later, about Chiefs conspiracies. Please, people, there is no Chiefs conspiracy.
Nope.
Go take your tinfoil hat somewhere else, please. Just please make it stop. Okay? Please Please, please. Speaking of conspiracies, Jori, you did cover Aaron Rodgers this past week. Let's get to that. I kid. There was no conspiracy there. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers went into New York and they beat the Jets. There's a lot to unpack from it, but what you wrote about most notably was Aaron Rodgers coming back and he was taking selfies, and at least outwardly, this wasn't an angry man, but clearly the game meant something to him, whether it's walking off, cupping his ear, hearing it from the crowd there when they were going to the tunnel victorious. It obviously meant something to him. How much to you do you think? My question to you is, how much do you think it meant?
It's interesting because it did mean something more than just any opponent, but actually, Aaron made it a point to say, if you think this one meant a lot, think about when he, at the end of October, is going to play the Green Bay Packers, whom he spent 18 seasons with rather than 18 games playing for. So this wasn't like the be all end all, the franchise that drafted him type of situation. But I think what's interesting is I believe people kind of missed the point with that press conference because I'm not trying to defend Aaron Rodgers. This isn't about a defense of it. But if you listen to what Aaron Rodgers says when asked generally about the Jets, it's, hey, here are the 10 guys I'm friends with. Even, who is it, Quinnen Williams, who ended up sacking him. He went and talked to as a friend before the game and continued to call him a friend after. Like, this is not about every single person on the team. This is specifically about head coach Aaron Glenn. So when he was asked about the Jets, it was, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good people there. And when he was at the stadium, as I wrote in my piece, I mean, I'm watching the MetLife Stadium staffers. He's patting one on the shoulder. He's helping another one get a selfie that they wanted with Aaron. Really, the question was, as y'all said on the show yesterday, when he was asked if it meant something against Aaron Glenn, who told him he was not the right quarterback for the Jets, Aaron said, one, yes, he did tell me that. And then he said it felt good to beat everybody associated with the Jets because he just didn't want to give Aaron Glenn the satisfaction, I think, of getting him by name. So to me, this is a yes, it meant more. And he had his couple moments, but to me, the number one takeaway being in that locker room was that this was a team that acted like it's been there before and it had somewhere else it wanted to be, not that day, but in terms of there were bigger goals this season. It felt so different than when Aaron Rodgers was with the Jets and they would have a win. And again, not trying to knock the Jets, but that just felt like a team that Aaron Rodgers was on a pedestal for. And if you want proof of that pedestal, look at who the coaching staff and the roster came to resemble and all the people they let Aaron bring in. And this was the team that said, we're going to put you on the pedestal and hope that you can carry us to the promised land. And the Steelers much more feel like a team that say, hey, Aaron, we need a quarterback. We already have a leader in Mike Tomlin. We already have Jalen Ramsey here and DK Metcalf's going to do this. And oh, by the way, can you come in? You're going to lead the league with 4 passing touchdowns in the first week. But it's not only going to be about you. And that is just a huge change from what we saw from Aaron the past couple of years.
And me and Andrew talked about this last week, that you look at the end, Aaron Rodgers' experience in Pittsburgh, it's been so quiet. Since he signed, you expected, oh, there's going to be this controversy and that Pat McAfee interview and all this. It has been so quiet there. And I think that's just a difference in organizations. The Jets are a clown show and the Steelers are a professionally run organization. And Aaron Rodgers came in and he's employee number 8. That's it. He is coming there to work. And by the way, he looked really good on Sunday. I mean, he wasn't MVP Aaron Rodgers because that is not going to happen anymore. But at his age, there's only been one player to have a good season at quarterback ever. It's Tom Brady, who did it 4 times because he's a freak. If Aaron Rodgers could play at this level all season, the Steelers are going to be pretty good. They don't need him to be, again, they don't need him to be 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. They need him to be a good, solid quarterback who's an upgrade over Russell Wilson. Well, that's not a high bar to clear. So I've just been impressed with the whole thing. I'm impressed with how Rodgers has just assimilated himself, how Tomlin has handled the whole situation, and how Aaron Rodgers played on Sunday, which was pretty darn impressive given his age. This is the Steelers might be better than we think, especially if Aaron Rodgers can keep this up.
The Steelers' revenge. Go ahead.
To me, the biggest juxtaposition, because I had also been there 2 years prior for the Jets opener at MetLife, and that was, of course, the game where 4 plays into it, Aaron tears his Achilles and is out for the year. Now you have this 4-play stretch on the opener against the Jets this year when Aaron gets a touchdown at the beginning of the 4th quarter. Then Kenny Gainwell, also a new season off-season acquisition, forces a fumble. They recover it back to the Steelers. There's one run, and then Aaron Rodgers has yet another touchdown. So you go from 4 plays and you're out for the year to 2 touchdowns and 4 plays on the same field to start the season. I mean, it really was so different. And I was reaching out to someone close to Aaron who was very close to him during that recovery process, being like, wow, look how different this feels.
Yeah, it felt different, and it does feel different for the Steelers. Granted, one game, right? Like my friend Kyle Brandt likes to say, week one is a liar. I don't know that it's a liar, but there's some gray area, certainly. And last night, the perfect example, the roller coaster ride through those two quarterbacks and obviously the final result. But if week one was the revenge game for Aaron Rodgers, week two could be that for DK Metcalf. Granted, he got paid. I think it all worked out for him. But the Seahawks are coming to Pittsburgh for week two. Mike Tomlin, much like he did last week, said if it means something better to DK, he hasn't said it to me, and I know that he's not going to admit it to you. But knowing DK, he might actually admit it to us, and I'm sure maybe that'll happen on Wednesday. And can I also do this? Because Mike Tomlin's really the only head coach that talks on Tuesdays. And for years, when I was at NFL Network, all of us would sit in the NFL Network newsroom, wait for that noon Eastern press conference, and try to guess how long he's going to go with his opening soliloquy, usually between 9 and 12 minutes before he opens it up. And he has a way with words. This was my favorite Mike Tomlin today. Asked about Cole Holcomb the linebacker, not getting any defensive snaps on Sunday. He said, quote, "We don't feel obligated for participation. This isn't Little League football. We're going to assimilate a group that we think is capable of winning certain matchups." I love the guy. Like, why can't more people be like that on the podium? Also, I don't know that he's using the word assimilate the right way, but who cares? It sounds good when it's coming out of Mike Tomlin's mouth. Right? It just sounds good. And he did say the division of labor today. We're not talking job numbers coming from Washington. Like the division of labor, that's what he calls his depth chart. Anyway, I digress. Coming up next, injury updates from San Francisco. They signed a new kicker today. Also, coming up next, are the Giants making the right call by sticking with Russell Wilson? I think I know Frank's answer. That's next on Inside Coverage. It's Inside Coverage on Yahoo. Hi, my name is Andrew. Thanks for joining us. We're here every Monday through Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. YahooSports.tv, brand new fast channel. Find us on your smart television. We're trying to give you smart television. Also on the Yahoo Sports YouTube page. That's Frank. That is Jori. Let's do the 49ers news. They cut Jake Moody today. He was a third-round pick in 2023, had a great rookie season, and then, especially the second half of last year, it kind of sort of fell apart. They're not the only team that has a kicker issue. By the way, Eddie Pinheiro will be the new guy, the former Panther, the well-traveled veteran. The Falcons brought in John Parker Romo, one of 6 kickers who tried out after the big Younghoe Koo miss this past Sunday. They now have 3 kickers on their roster, 2 on the practice squad, and Koo still on the active roster. The Browns notably did not bring anyone in for a tryout today. This after Andre Schmidt. Schmidt happens, missed both an extra point and a field goal this past Sunday, and the Browns lost by only 1 point. Other 49er news, guys. We have injury updates. George Kittle, injured reserve. The earliest he could return is October 12th. Frank, last week, you told me that Brock Purdy was kind of your low-key, super secret MVP pick. Once again, however, it's the same 49ers story. Everybody's hurt.
Right. Which probably props up Brock Purdy for MVP if they can go like 5-0 in this stretch without George Kittle.
I see what you're doing.
But this is just
what you're doing there. That's the reverse logic. Okay, I got
it. This is just too much
I
drama.
gave it to Josh Allen over Lamar. I mean, last year with Lamar, if you have Derrick Henry, you can't be the most valuable player because you're not being asked to do the same thing. Carry on.
Best players should be MVP, and it's usually Lamar, but maybe not this year. Anyway,
from the ultra.
There's so much drama with the 49ers now way too early in the season. You got Kittle out, who's a huge crux of their offense, obviously. Jennings is banged up. Purdy is banged up. You got kicker issues after you've used a third-round pick on a kicker. Don't do that, 49ers. That's a bad idea. So they're going into the New Orleans to the Superdome, and you would think that they could win there, but this is just a mess for the 49ers way too early in the season. They got pretty lucky to win at Seattle. That Brock Purdy touchdown pass was really lucky, by the way. And you just wonder, last year, everything went against the 49ers injury-wise. And you said, okay, I can't repeat. That was so unlucky that they're going to have better fortune that way. And it's just all piling up again. I kind of feel for the 49ers right now, even though they're 1-0, because they're dealing with all this stuff that some teams deal with this in November, December, when you've had 13, 14 weeks and guys getting banged up. They're dealing with this in week 2. This is bad news for the 49ers. And you just wonder how they're going to get through this stretch without at least George Kittle, one of their really, really key guys.
Yeah, and I would say George Kittle's not only key from a schematic standpoint, but also he really is such a leader of that team. He's got the energy. He has that calming veteran presence. Brock Purdy can do some of that, but he is not wired to be vocal in the way that George Kittle is, or not to the degree that George Kittle is. And I think on one hand, you can say, okay, injuries happen. You do what you can as a team. But I think on the other hand, there is a sense that, well, this is a team that always has this. George Kittle will be 32 years old a month from today. And so you have to start wondering how much of this is decisions the 49ers are making in terms of not just how they train their players, but also how old their players are and what kind of risks they're taking and how much is something else.
Yeah. And look, injuries have been their downfall for a number of years. Generally speaking, if they stay healthy, they're really good. And maybe they make a Super Bowl run. Now, granted, when they did come this close and Jimmy Garoppolo, missed a throw by this much in the back of the end zone in Miami when we all probably had COVID and at that point didn't even know it. If he hits that throw, is it all different? Maybe. And they had injuries that year, and they had injuries a couple of years ago when they lost to the Chiefs as well. But it seems like, to your point, Jori, every single year they have to overcome this, and they're going to have to do it again this year. All right, let's go to New York. We all know that the Jackson Dart Day is coming. We just don't know when. If you believe Brian Daboll, it is not coming this week. Here's the tape. He is sticking with Russell Wilson. Do we have the tape?
You intend to start Russell Wilson this week?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Was that ever?
I mean, and after a game, it's an emotional game. It's a tough game. Didn't play particularly well, I would say, collectively, but in terms of making any of those decisions, really at any position or schematic changes, I'd like to, do it with a clear head and watch the tape and again, like I said yesterday, that game just doesn't fall on Russell Wilson. You got to do a better job collectively, coaching, playing, but Russ will be the starter.
Oh, was that?
So that's Brian Daboll yesterday after saying, as he's referencing there after the game, that yes, he's going to stick with them. And then, a day later, he says he's still going to do it. They get the Cowboys this week, a well-rested Cowboys team. Jory, they have to go to Dallas. We all know the Jackson Dart Day is coming. It's that age-old debate. Like, do you let the guy sit and watch and learn? I talked to Derek Carr, not Derek, geez. I mean, I worked with David for a decade, and I still call David Derek. I'm sorry, David. Okay. David Carr and I did a show this summer, and we're specifically talking about the Browns' young quarterbacks. And I said, philosophically, because remember, David started from day one in Houston, right? He took a beating that year. He also beat the Cowboys in a nationally televised opener in his very first game. But I said, are you for sitting or starting? He goes, absolutely sit. Sit as long as you can. So I get Brian Daboll, like, let's wait. But at the same time, I don't know how you can look at your locker room, and if Russell plays the same way as he did week one in week two, and say we can't go to Jackson Dart.
I think there's an element that's great if you're Kevin O'Connell and you say, let's believe in our quarterback before we see him play. But JJ McCarthy is their best option right now. And while I'm not saying Jackson Dart is no way their best option, they do still have Russell Wilson, and it would not be the first time that preseason would be misleading. I think Jackson Dart is going to be a better option for the Giants later in this year, but I think that this decision is not going to be primarily made over which player is most ready. I think it is going to be primarily made over, if you're Brian Daboll and you're Joe Schoen and you're trying to keep your job, what are you going to do to keep it? Because even if you think you want to help the team, you can't help the team if you're not working for them anymore. And I think that if you pull the Jackson Dart trigger now and it looks bad, you're probably not making it through the season if you're the head coach and the general manager who just drafted him. And so I think there's actually some self-preservation here by not going to Jackson Dart soon, in addition to the argument of, hey, let's try and get the veteran a little bit of time here.
I do agree that there's a lot of self-preservation involved here. But I also think Jackson Dart is their best option right now. Russ has nothing left. Like, he's just not an NFL starting quarterback anymore. And we've seen it now for many years, multiple years now. I think the Giants would look better with Jackson Dart under center right now. And I mean, yes, and David Carr, look, I mean, he has more experience than I do, especially getting beat up on a bad team. But you think about the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Burrow didn't sit. Herbert didn't sit. I mean, on and on.
Mahomes
a lot of these guys.
Mahomes did.
Yeah, but he would have been fine
year.
And I think we both agree. Mahomes would have been fine. Josh Allen sat for a half.
This is also about
Nathan
who you
Peterman.
have around you. Like, this is the case in New
Correct,
Orleans too, with Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shaw. If the starter, who's the veteran, doesn't have the guys around him, it's not like all of a sudden that cast magically gets better when the rookie gets in. I mean, I will say I was wrong last year about Drake May, because I felt like they should not have put him in when they did, because the offensive line was such a problem. And when I talked to 20 plus people around the league for a story, they said the number one decider to them would be, can you protect the guy? Ideally protect the guy, run game defense. But I just think when you think about all of the elements that you would want the Giants to have to take pressure off Jackson Dart in the start, I mean, maybe your defense can get there, but I don't think they look that way against the Washington Commanders.
No, and there's something to be said about the Giants aren't going to start Jackson Dart until Andrew Thomas is back. Their left tackle is not playing because he's still recovering from an injury last year. I get all that. But at the same time, I do wonder if Brian Daboll is going to be sitting on his porch in 20 years saying, man, I just let those L's pile up with Russell Wilson. I started 0-5 and got fired. I should have just done it. You can almost tell, like, why wouldn't he go to Jackson Dart? I watched that Giants team not get in the end zone once and said, well, Jackson Dart can do that. Like, Jackson Dart can lead 0 touchdown drives. Like, that's not a high bar to climb. So I don't know. I just think that Jackson Dart's the best player for them right now. I get the self-preservation. I get that you don't want to put him in a bad spot, but I do think Drake May was a good example of us freaking out over that. And then, well, Drake May played pretty well. He played well, and he showed a lot of things. And I don't know. I don't see there being any upside to starting Russell Wilson right now, except if you really truly believe Jackson Dart is going to be ruined if you start him right away. Okay, I get that. But I don't know that that's the case. Other guys have started early and they've been just fine. So I think Jackson Dart's their best option, and they're letting him sit on the bench.
You know,
But Frank, if
it's a
you were going
fascinating
the Drake
conversation.
May route,
Go ahead,
if you're
Jory,
going
please.
the Drake May route, then wouldn't you say 5 or 6 games and then you start the guy? Like Drake May did not start week 2.
They should have. I mean, we just overblew that whole, like, the offensive line is going to get him killed. The same offensive line was playing week 6, and he looked fine. Like, he played really well last year, actually. So I don't know. I think Brian Davis, I think are going to go like 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, and it's going to be like, why? What was the point in starting Russell Wilson? You saw everything you needed to see out of him in the preseason in week 1. I would have gone Jackson Dart at halftime week 1. Said whatever. Like, this offense isn't moving. We look terrible. We're not going to score a touchdown against a really middling Washington Commanders defense. What do you got, kid? Yeah, they had to simplify things in the preseason, simplify things in the regular season too. I just think that Dart is by far their best option.
I guarantee you we have plenty of time to kick this one, because it's going to be the topic again, whether it's at halftime this week or all throughout next week. We have a minute here. It's also a fascinating organizational conversation, because a lot of people say, well, let your coach, right? Let him make the decision. You shouldn't let the GM or the owner or anyone else get in the way. Sometimes, however, when you're talking about the development and potentially stunting the development and getting a guy beaten up of a rookie quarterback, that you do have to take an organizational view of this entire thing, as opposed to the coach self-preservation view of the entire thing, even at the same time while giving the coach the autonomy, because he is the man in charge. I mean, you did hire the coach to make these decisions. It's an interesting organizational theory, I guess you could say, conversation, which we can continue tomorrow. I want to thank Frank and Jori and Dion Dawkins as well. And Jori, it's great to have you back. Congratulations yet
Great
again.
to be back.
We are back. Yes, tomorrow, Wednesday, 6:30 Eastern Time, for another edition of Inside Coverage. We'll see you then. So long.